Are we live? Hello. Second stream of the day. What I have here is a A1398. Where's the ticket? So this is a mail-in A1398. It was a refurbished, so they got a new bottom for it. And if you see the new bottoms on eBay and everything, they don't have the information bar, the serial number and everything on the bottom. So he took it to the Apple store. Let's see, what does it say here? Took it to the Apple store. They said there's no Apple serial number anywhere on the device. They say it's basically a laptop with Apple components, but not a MacBook, and they can't repair it. So we're working on a A1398 Mac PC, I guess. And amazingly, he kind of defends Apple for their decision on that.
What did he say?
He said it is a refurbished MacBook, so I can see why they would say that. But it didn't help me get it working again. So a customer has defended Apple once again. So let's see here. This is an A1398, which has the normal issue of it kernel panicking and not turning on because of U8900. So we got a light. It's taking almost an amp, so something's turning on. I got a chime. I have no Apple logo, no screen, no display. Okay, let's open this up, see what it looks like. Our PC, not a MacBook. I don't work on this desk. I can't find anything on this desk. That would be real funny to open this up and have an Asus board in here.
There's no serial written on there.
No serial number, no information, no nothing.
But they really said this is not a MacBook. So if somebody in China decided to, what?
Taped in battery.
Tell me they didn't do it.
Nah, it's hanging in there by the electrical tape. It's not glued in.
So if somebody were to create this in China, since it's not a MacBook, that should not be counterfeiting, right?
This is a counterfeit book? It's clean. There's no liquid damage, so I'm going to go right after U8900 on this one.
Not a MacBook.
Where do you hide your T5?
Oh, I have.
There's only one T5 for 2 stations?
No idea. I'm pretty sure it's even Steam, to be honest. Hey, can you see your view account there?
No.
Oh, but this is on the channel, right?
Yep. Vice levels of exposure. Hey, I didn't sign a contract here. I can still stream to my own channel. And it's funny, I can tell by just the way the screws are coming out that nobody's been in this machine before. This hasn't really been messed with. So I don't even know why they call it a refurbished one. I guess just because of the battery.
I think from the electrical tape that this is a third-party refurb.
Seems that way.
Yeah.
But yet it doesn't. It didn't feel like the board came out of this before. The way the screws were in there, it felt like this board has never been out of here. You can tell when somebody over tightens them and under tightens them all around. So now let's check out our U8900. Nope. 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 Yep. Well, it's not the worst I've seen of it. There definitely is some soft solder in those joints, though. Especially this one. Well, let's try this fix. So first I'm just adding a bunch of leaded solder into here to try to get rid of the lead-free solder, or at least dilute it down as much as I can. Then I'll go back and clean it all up with a fresh, no soldered tip. So now we clean the tip off and come back and get rid of our excess. Yeah, leaded solder always looks better when you're done with the job. Lead-free solder, no matter how good the flux is, no matter how good a solder you get, the lead-free always looks brittle and not shiny. There's even a NASA directive that anything with avionics or space, you have to use leaded solder still. It has to have at least 5% or more of lead. Anything that's going into microgravity. Now we're going to do a nice professional repair and clean this off real good too. A nice professional unauthorized repair. I added lead solder, so this is definitely a PC now. Okay, let's put this back in the machine and see what happens. Not that one, 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 that one.
For the one in B5? Oh, you're streaming?
Yes.
Wait, why is he streaming? What? Why is he streaming? He's not popular. Are we going to get a vote right now? Actually, wait a second. You only got 61 viewers.
I only got 61 viewers.
Yeah. Oh.
Aww. Nobody wants to see. Nobody wants to see a Paul stream.
I'm sitting right here. Someone done it already. Alright, I'll ask Paul anyway. So remember the one, that speaker one?
Yes.
What was done to that? Because you took it back here, right?
Yes.
You don't remember, right?
Somebody says Lewis' voice changed.
No.
What did I do to it? I checked to make sure that it was only a screen that it needs, and I fixed the fan. The fan was on. The fan was on high because of the fan itself. The connector was broken. I fixed the connector.
So the fan itself, not on the board.
Yeah, it was the fan itself. Yeah, I don't do a Lewis impression, so I can't sound like Lewis.
Okay, does this thing turn on? Probably not, but maybe. We got a little bit of alcohol in the CPU. Wait, is this one of those models where you can put alcohol on the CPU and make it a heat switch better?
You want the rage. I don't rage. Well, I do rage. I've never raged on YouTube.
Is this one of those I can do that?
How long are you keeping it on for?
Like, just to see if there's light?
Light on what? The
Charge.
you don't have to worry about that.
May I borrow this one?
From the current lineup, the only one I like on the current lineup is the MacBook Air, because it's still the MacBook Air. It's still the old one. It's still what you expect. It's got a removable SSD. The only thing is it's the same Air from forever. It's got a low resolution screen. It's not a Retina. But as far as all the new ones, forget about it. That 12-inch Retina is, you're paying all that money for a board the size of an iPhone board or an iPad board. And all the new ones, I'm definitely not going for anything with a soldered-on SSD ever. I would never want that. Okay, let's see if we got something on the screen now. Do I have battery power? Light on the charger, chime, I see a backlight. I have an Apple logo. There you go. This not a MacBook was U8900, the standard 1398 problem. And Apple would have, if you take one of these to Apple, they want to charge you the out-of-warranty service fee of changing your logic board out. Yeah, there you go. It's one, not a MacBook, fixed by U8900. I would not be surprised if Apple winds up soldering MacBook Air. Hey, Paul Daniels, Mr. Daniels, Tim, what's up? No, I didn't screw anything in the board yet. Whole thing needs to be put back together. This crazy battery really could use some gluing in too. But that sucks. If this is refurbished, and that's what the refurbisher did, they couldn't just buy a tape of 300 LSE. And by the way, if you need some 300 LSE tape, check out store.rossmangroup.com, where we have 300 LSE in 3 different sizes. It's good for bonding anything together, for putting screens back in, for re-adhering batteries that you've taken out and need to put back. Remember, store.rossmangroup.com. U8900.
Fixed?
Yep, fixed. It can't be a MacBook now. I put leaded solder on a chip. Now it's a PC.
How bad were the joints?
Not that bad, but bad enough. It's always that one side. It's always the same side of the chip.
You should show your channel.
Shill my channel.
Yeah.
I just shilled store.rossmangroup.com.
Show Paul's channel.
My channel. My channel is a little difficult to find. You could either find me when I log in here and subscribe to me that way, or I'm one of the only people out there that tore down a Microsoft Band 2 smartwatch. I'm a Microsoft fanboy, I guess, somewhat. So if you search Microsoft Band 2 teardown, you'll find me as like the first or second video suggestion on that. If you want to know how to take the logic board and screen out of one of these things. Don't tell Lewis, this is one of my pet peeves. A lot of people don't put this little rubber cap back on this one screw. I see them laying around here sometimes. It drives me nuts. No, I don't think I'm getting paid for that plug of our store. I think links to, yeah, it should go through. I have a graphics card that is broken, but I don't think I could fix it because I have never soldered before and really don't know where to get the replacement caps. The problem with that is that a lot of this surface mount stuff, it's not marked with a value. You need a schematic and board view to be able to know what the value is of what you're looking at. So that's why we don't do a lot of other repairs for other things, because you need this information. And there's no information. I've never seen any video card that has schematics and board views out there. Drone repair is something that looks pretty cool. The 15-inch does not have a U8900 now. Or wait, yes, the 15-inch. I'm thinking 13-inch. The 2015. I believe the 2015 is the same thing, yes. 2015 15-inch is U8900 as well, right?
No, that doesn't have any of these issues.
It doesn't. Okay. The battery doesn't let the bottom down right. Oh, that's hilarious. That's why it's not going down right. They put the wrong bottom on here. This is the bottom that has the little plastic clips here that is supposed to go into little plastic clips here. This needs a bottom that has magnets. These are magnets here. They're supposed to be either, I don't know if they're magnets or little flat pieces of steel here for them to go into. That's why when I put it down, it just doesn't feel right. They got the wrong bottom on here. No matter. Doesn't make any difference. How did I get hired by Lewis? Through YouTube. I commented on one of his videos that he was giving away a battery pack. I said, screw the battery pack. I want the open position that he's complaining he needs to fill. In the next video he came on, anybody that wants a position, send a resume. So I sent a resume and he called me.
Apple repair, best repair. My grandma has a MacBook, and this channel makes me anticipate the day it goes out. Why would you hope that your grandma's MacBook goes out?
Because it's just going to.
Oh, is Paul Daniels here?
Yes, he is.
In your open book. Hey, Paul, did you notice that I updated your software?
Paul, I have your new software on my work computer too. Splendid. Lovely.
I pirated it. I used one license key on 2 computers.
Hell yeah, I like working here.
He's only saying that because I'm in the room.
It was an adjustment just working in the city. 'Cause I live in Jersey, so commuting to the city was a bit of adjustment, but once I got used to that, it was great. Fixed.
PC?
That is one PC.
Should we glue the battery in to be nice?
Do you want to glue the battery in? I should never closed it then. That's the wrong bottom on it too.
Put it in L10.
L10.
You doing Twitch only on this? No, both. Oh, you do both. Right, so while you're still there, this one was randomly crashing and then died.
Oh, geez. Randomly crashing 1534.
Now it's dead.
And now it's dead.
It should be easy though.
Every time Lewis hands me something and says it should be easy, it's some kind of crazy nightmare. See, this is what I said about the 1534. Ugh. Don't know keys. I'm trying to get Lewis to get a Stream Deck instead of using function keys. This is your entire board in the 1534. This is your SSD. This is the Wi-Fi card. This is everything. Everything's on this one board right here. So, I mean, yeah, it's cool that technology is shrinking and everything, but it feels funny to spend so much money on this tiny little board. Let's take a look at this and see what was done to it. I should probably open up the ticket and see what was done to it. And, you know, I guess you do get a good battery life with this machine because it has nothing to run. What does it have to run? The screen and this little tiny board. And believe it or not, the little tiny speakers that are in this thing actually sound good. That's something that Apple did win with their newest MacBooks. That the speakers are tiny, but they actually sound kind of good. So I see a couple of things that are darker colored. I never trust when Lewis says it should be easy. You can't let the weird sheen around the edge fool you into thinking that there was liquid on the board. That is not liquid damage. That's from the casing. It's some kind of there's a heat transfer pad around the outer edge. This whole board is a heat sink, and it uses the entire bottom case of the computer as a heat sink, and that's where it transfers its heat all the way around the outside. And there's those heat transfer pads that this sits on, and it leaves this greasy nastiness on it.
Still no light at the charger after the ISO.
Did you test the current sensing?
I can't because I don't have the software, the open board, or anything. Can I use your setup? Or
Well, the current sensing looks the same on all of them. You just find those two pads. One of them should be 3 ohms, the other one should be 22 ohms.
okay. I still haven't done anything with P3 before too. I literally just replaced the ISO because I knew it was bad.
What about all the stuff around it?
Oh yeah, good point.
What's the history of this board?
It was randomly freezing and crashing and then died.
Yeah, but what did you do to it?
I ultrasonic it even though it had no liquid damage, just praying.
Oh no. And this should be easy, you say?
It should be simple. You're smart. Just pretend it's a car.
Let's at least hook this up and see what it does. Get my USB amp meter. So let's see if it turns anything on. It's taking 20 volts at 0.32 amps. So that should be it starting up. It's not changing at all. It shouldn't take a steady 0.32 amps. It should be fluctuating as it starts up. Let's plug the screen into this and see what it does. Nope, a steady 0.32 amps. Anything getting warm? Feels like the entire board is getting warm. I think I'm going to put this under the thermal camera. Let's please bro the thermal camera and see if this does anything.
The issue that I don't have any of the board software, so I can't actually replace anything.
What?
I don't have any of the board software, so I can't actually know what to replace. There really needs to be a computer there. Let me just use policy to be honest. This computer. That's from your. Wait, you have it on that? Why you have it on that?
So I can answer.
Well, you can answer like also be on that. Close everything. Did you actually put someone on there? On that sound thing? Like, did you make someone listen to that?
Oh yeah.
Did I just be on the right?
Is that board really hotter than my hand is right now? I guess so. Please, bro, what's wrong?
You gonna upgrade
Are you drawing any power?
Yes.
0.3 amps. That's a lot for an iPhone, but.
That looks like it's starting up.
CPU V-core present?
I don't even know where to get that on this board. Let's see, CPU V-core. Where could it be? It might be here? That's not it. Is it here? 1.2 volts. How about here? 1.7 volts. Is CPU V-core 1.2 or 0.8? Yeah, that's why I felt like the entire board was getting hot, because the CPU's getting hot. Which this looks like it's just a normally starting board, but we have no image. I'm sure somebody has said it already that I don't read chat, and no, I don't. I don't know how Lewis does it with the working while reading chat. Try with an external display. Here's the thing about trying this with an external display. I only have one port. The problem with the thermal camera and trying to get the thing closer, yeah, you lose focus a lot, and then you also lose alignment of the two images. Because this thermal camera has the light image and the infrared, and it blends the two together to give you the line art image over the infrared to help you see where you're at. And then if you bring it up closer to the camera, it loses its alignment. Under the big black heat shield on this board is the CPU, Tarman.
PB3V42 gets 3.4 volts, which doesn't make any sense why this thing isn't showing a light on the charger.
Okay.
Does that make any
Let's
sense to you?
connect the battery. Makes sense that because the ISL was burnt to shit, you got to check everything around that ISL.
Okay. Wait, do we even have replacement capacitors for that?
Yeah, you can use any board. The ISL structure is the same on pretty much everything.
Okay.
Hate this keyboard cable. Or trackpad cable, I should say. Let's see what's happening here. Power. It is charging the battery. It's taking 0.93 amps. Should be on and working. Do I have a system detect LED? Yes, the system detect LED is on. I have the speakers plugged in, and I didn't hear that. They got rid of the chime, but they have a little dunk that it does. Yeah, I'm tempted to plug it into a different screen. But it's not taking a full battery charge because it's only taking 0.83 amps. Should go up to like 1.7. See if it stays powered from the battery. The system detect light is still on, so it is running off a battery too. No backlight, no screen. See if I got another screen for this thing. One moment, please. Back with a screen. Okay. Does this thing even have an SMC? I guess it has to. Not in the traditional sense. I see nothing. Should give me like a battery logo or something. So no display. Let's take a look at this display connector and the areas around it. That one? I guess that's good enough. See, nothing obviously bad. I have never troubleshot screen issues on this thing before, so let's open up a schematic. This amazing, awesome, stupendous new board view software from Paul Daniels. Oh, what year is this? This is the old one. Let's see, not that one, not that one, not that one. That one. So here's our board. Here's our LCD connector. I want to see this in the PDF. Next. There it is. Ah. Paul, I can't believe Lewis suggested for the control zoom in the PDF. You have regular zoom on your board view, and then I have to control zoom in the PDF. That drives me out of my mind. So let's see if we have panel power on pin 39. The hell kind of numbering is this? Oh, all the grounds go last. I see. 39. Right next to a ground. So there's a big old fat ground, one pin by itself, big old fat ground, 3 pins. There's our panel power. So let me get this panel plugged back in. Make sure my system detect light is off. Yeah. So with all the newer ones, you don't have to disconnect the battery to get power off the board. There's a system detect line, and this one has a little LED that glows ever so slightly on the board when there's power coming from the battery into the board. And you have a little battery disconnect button that you could press, and that turns off the battery. With the 1707, 1706, the touch bars, you have a little flex, just a tiny little flex with like 5 wires in it or something. You disconnect that, and that will, you don't have to unscrew the battery off the board. That will disconnect power from the board. So we got power applied.
I have to figure out a map to just steal a bunch of capacitors and stuff here on the ISM. Right there. I mean, the UC got rid of the corrosion itself, but...
So now it doesn't turn on?
No charge.
2.3 millivolts. I have no panel power.
Alright.
I need to grab a board.
Yeah, Peter.
So no panel power. No, why?
Really? It looks like it's really painful. Maybe it just looks like it even left a mark from the previous area.
That's probably my glasses too.
Oh, that's
It
right.
feels like
Yeah,
my
yeah.
glasses.
Really?
Yeah.
Oh. All my statuses. Clear?
Okay, so panel power. Where is panel power coming from? In the top corner over there. God, this board view looks terrible. Whoever wrote the board view itself is... Everything's overlapping. What does that look like on the board? Love the way those diodes go on the board crooked. So, panel power. What are these resistors? Let's see that on the schematic.
Fixed?
Ha!
Fixed?
No panel power.
Oh, but wait, it's turning on? CPU VCore?
Yes.
How'd you get VCore?
I don't know. It's on.
I didn't have VCore.
What is vCore? Where is vCore? I didn't even... I got a 1.2 and a 1.7 near the CPU. I assume that was vCore.
Is it PPVCC-SO or something?
I didn't even look up the signal.
Lewis,
Yeah.
you got me a board that has an ISO.
PPVCC SO CPU. 1.7 volts.
What? How'd you make VCore work?
You didn't.
vCore is working.
You touched it.
I didn't have VCore.
I threatened it.
With what?
With throwing out onto First Avenue.
Going off the roof. You're still live, right?
Yes. Panel 3.3, enable. So what are you? U8310. U8310.
That's nice.
Thank you. I know you just need the capacitors around it.
3SO, switch LCD. E33SO. 5VS4.
If I didn't have hot usage right now, this would be a horrible job.
5V SOS. So R83. This one's R8315. So this is the enable. Let's see if the enable is there. Which one to use? Second one. Needs smaller, sharper meter probes. This is ridiculous. It's like working on an iPhone. These are sharp needle point probes as it is. Any of you guys that are used to watching this, these probes look small, usually. Looking for enable.
Silver, you say pink. Who wins?
2.2 millivolts on enable. This is not an enable L, this is an enable, so it needs to be high.
Boom! Boom! I think it was pink. Say, what happened to the say outlook right now? No, pink one was a different one. Alright, so yeah.
P5 ESO 5. See if we have our 5 volts there. It's this big guy. Damn it. Damn it. 1.9 millivolts. Or mate volts.
Still hasn't upgraded that.
Let's see. So where is that coming from? That is coming from this chip, PP5VS4. PP5ES4. Let's see if that's present. Where can I find that? Nowhere near here. Okay, PP5ES4 is on this coil and 2 capacitors, so let's find that. Zoom out. Coil and 2 capacitors. Test point. 5 volts. Okay, so we have our 5 volts into this chip. LP5V enable. I don't have an enable, I guess. LCD power slew. So the enable needs to be coming from here. EV panel power, which is PP3V3SO. No. Let's see. Let's see if this is shorted to ground. E315 is that second one. Five kilo ohms. That is not shorted to ground. 50 ohms. 50 ohms. Is that the screen? I have 50 ohms to ground there. That seems like a weird number. Although I'm not used to this board. $21 kilo ohms. 30 kilo ohms. Now, wouldn't that just be proper if the test screen I'm using is dead?
Test screen's dead.
32 kilo ohms. 23 kilo ohms. Okay, just unplugging it and plugging it back in, change that number drastically. .2 millivolts. Okay, well, something's keeping this display from turning on. Is it the display, or is it the power structure for the display? It could be either one of these little chips, but we're not getting an enable. So the enable comes back from the display. That can't be right. What am I looking at? Maybe I should give this one to Lewis. I'll just tell him it should be something simple. Let me check the two I2C lines and make sure that they're being pulled up. So I want pin 25 and pin 19. How are these numbered? There's pin 25. Why is it not going anywhere? Oh, because it's on the other side of the board. Oh, that's camera. I don't care about camera. Backlight. That's what I care about. Of course, it's on the other side where I can't test it. I'm going to have to test it on the other side of the board. Okay, well, let's take this thing out of the chassis. Yes, I squared C.
Oh boy, will this turn on? That's the question. Or at least a fan. Or at least a light on the charger. Is it outputting?
Yes.
It's not going to do it, is it?
No.
Why? What the heck? Replacing early all-time
Oh. Only a test point.
Lewis,
What?
I've replaced like almost every capacitor that was bad, and the ISL, and it still won't have a light in the charging port.
I'll trade you.
You had PP3 before too?
What's bad with that? Yeah,
No display.
that's 3.42.
That's display is cracked.
Okay, this is a test display. Is this test display bad?
I don't know how sensitive that is. Will it actually stop detecting just because it's cracked? That would be funny.
I don't
3.42 volts. So
I don't want to trust the original display.
You know, like? I think it's too much.
I don't know. Lewis gives me everything. Maybe I should give him this one.
What does chat say?
What does chat say? Should Lewis continue fixing this, or should I keep banging my head against it?
could it be something?
Give
like
this one
literally
to
a bad
Steve.
charger?
Give it to Steve. Let
Yeah.
Steve troubleshoot it.
Yeah,
Could it literally be a bad charger?
it could be that. That does look very good.
Here, let me see yours.
I took the charger out just now, but here, this one.
Take the easy one.
Yes. Let's see what we got going on here. What tomfoolery is this?
You're just gonna try putting some hot air and make sure.
I want to clean off some of the flux so I could see. And yeah, put some hot air on it and let everything sit down. Oh, you have one bad capacitor here still.
Which one?
The one that doesn't have any connection on one side.
Oh, I see. You want me to do it, or you want to do it?
Did you measure the current sensing circuits?
No, I didn't. Should I have done that?
Something doesn't look right here.
It's on the
No, that's good.
Good. Shoot magazine. Shoot magazine.
Let's see what current sensing is. Am I in the right area? What board are you on? 3662.
You want me to fix that capacitor real quick?
No. Wait. This is the one we don't have a board view for?
No, there's a board. I heard Lewis run it up on his laptop.
Well, yeah, it's the 3332. No, we do have a 3662. No schematic?
I'll pull it up on the stream.
No, I'm not bothering with that.
Lewis, put on your computer. Put Fortnite on your computer, play it. You have to. You have to. Lewis plays Fortnite.
21 ohms, that's correct. No, current sensing is good. You have 2 capacitors that still need to be changed off of there,
I'll do it.
and
Do you think that'll do it or no?
probably not. You have some other issues going on that board.
Will I even bother finishing tonight or no? Yeah, I
No.
see this too, so-
It's time to go.
Where's the other one?
On top. There's a missing chunk out of one of the pads on it.
I see it.
Yeah, I'm not staying late for this display stuff.
You must. Wait, is it a bad display or no?
I guess that's a bad display, but I can't trust the display that came with this machine.
Is there another test display?
We probably do, but I have to go bother Steve for that. .3 millivolts. Screen is not being enabled. No, this is for tomorrow. It's time to get out of here. Lewis might want to stay late and work on this.
Guy on the screen.
I gave some opinion on warranty and Apple repair on the first board that I fixed. Yeah, I completely ignored chat the entire time. Lewis is too tired today to think anymore.
Fix it?
No, no fix.
What about the green light one? Did you fix his?
No, he needs some work on that.
I do. It has nothing to do with my soldering. I've come a long way since my first time.
Here you go, it's yours.
Hey. No. No.
There you go, it's yours.
Which
No.
other capacitor needs to be replaced? I think it was just under some burnt flux.
No. Time to go.
Time to go.
He needs his burrito.